John Darley, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, this is good. This is different. Because
Right?
I know it's kind of, I was thinking about it this morning after I got up. I'm like, okay, so what do I talk to the guy about who I spent 4 years, 60 hours a day with, who I pretty much feel like I know everything about? But
I know. I know.
we got this down though, because you know me.
We're gonna just have to dig deep, you know. It's like scratch the surface. I'm sure there's like some compartments we can open. I don't know.
Yeah, there is. You know, we can talk on the phone for hours. So it's just be like another phone call. It'll be good.
Right.
It'll be good.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So, dude, for people that don't understand that, you studied with me for 4 years. When was that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know. It was like, I think, well, I mean, I met you when I was like 18, and then,
and your mom was studying with me at the time.
right. Yeah. And I think you had me do that, like a cast drawing or something like that. And I remember you're like, you're not bad. You know,
I do remember that.
And then but I didn't blame you either, because like I was, I was about to go on a mission, and I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do with my life. And, it's hard to like really commit and get all in unless, I know that it's what I really, really want to do. But, came back and got plugged in, and 60 hours a week, man. It was good times. Times. I loved it.
Yeah, I remember that conversation we had. I'll never forget this, because I've had this conversation with a lot of people. But for some reason, I specifically remember it with you. You were debating on whether to go to college, and you were thinking about being an accountant, right? Which is crazy.
Oh my gosh.
So far different. That's so different. Yeah. So you're thinking about being an accountant, and I remember saying to you, well, dude, just try this. And if you fail, you can always go back to school.
I know, right?
You remember that?
Just that easy. I do. Uh-huh. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And you tried it, man. You tried it with freak, dude. Like, I have never had a student work as hard as you. I got one now that's right up there.
Oh,
I got one now. I got one now. His name is Elias. And
he's rocking it.
He works his freaking tail off. He's here when I get here, and I work 80 hours a week. So he's here when I get here, and he's usually here when I leave.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a level of fear involved, and also just it's enjoyable. Like, I mean, it's like this, I don't know, like it, working a lot and being tired is not necessarily enjoyable, but it is when you're making cool stuff, man. I mean,
but half the time you weren't, though.
A skill, right?
Let's be real.
Well, but that was also part of it, though, because a lot of it was boring, right? These boring assignments, right? And I hated it. And I just wanted to get through it, right? I was like, I gotta make.
You don't have to be that real.
I gotta. Well,
tone it down a little.
I was like, there's like, I wanted to, get to the point where I can pursue these really interesting projects. I can make real art. And you know what, to be frank, it hasn't changed. Like, it's still there. Like, I'm still in that exact same like mindset where it's like, I got to get better at, right now I'm doing a lot. I'm really honing in on multi-figure stuff. I'm trying to get better at that so I can make more ambitious multi-figure paintings, right? And all the elements that are, that are baked into that. And it never ends. And that's kind of the fun of it.
As in what, the work or the education or both?
Yeah, well,
when you say it never ends.
The hunt for the next thing, right?
Gotcha.
So like in your curriculum, like we're just focused on, shapes, basic shapes, like getting our eyes, tuned into being able to replicate shape accurately and quickly. And it just keeps on building upon itself. And
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that's similar for you, right? I mean, there's always the next thing,
Oh
right?
yeah.
There's always the next hill to climb.
Yeah. I mean, it plateaus quite a bit. You know, it's not like when you're in school where it's these huge sweeping movements, from one thing to another. But yeah, man, it's always, I mean, I'm never satisfied. I'm always trying to do better stuff. So yeah, I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So one of the things you said was fear too. And I know this about you. I'd love you to talk about that a little bit because you are like me. You're high. Forgive me if you want me to cut this, I will. But you are high strung, dude. You're like high anxiety.
Yep.
Like you're a tough guy, and I mean that in a good way, meaning you're resilient and stuff. But you also sort of live in a little bit of fear, like I do. It's like, oh my gosh, what's the next thing? Am I going to be able to? Is this thing going to last forever? And I imagine you get up every morning just pinching yourself and thinking, is this my last day as an artist?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know this better than anybody, Jeff, because I always like call you or send you text when I'm panicking. And yeah, it might be some of my nature. Like last night,
it's your nature.
Last night I started tinkering around in my studio. Next thing I know, it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like trying to fall asleep. And I hear these raccoons outside, and I'm like in this half sleep where it's like, I start like freaking out because I'm like, man, my chickens are out. What if a raccoon bites one of my chickens and it has rabies?
Bites one of my chickens?
Chicken's eggs. Like not logical at all, man. Not logical. I was like, what if I get rabies from eating the chicken's eggs?
Were you seriously worried about that?
Probably is. Well, like I was like kind of half asleep, like it's not logical. Like I woke up and I was like, what was I thinking about? Like, can you even get rabies from a chicken's egg if the chicken has rabies? I don't know. Is it like, does it work that way?
Did you wake yourself up and start Googling it, or did you just try and stay?
No, I was just
I could see myself doing that, Googling it in the middle of the night.
I mean, but I heard them outside. They're like, those little raccoon noises. And my chickens, like I let them, I just let them kind of, they roam. I like them roaming.
So they really could get eaten.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, like last week I saw a hawk and it was like dive bombing them. But it was like kind of a small hawk. And I was like, and I saw him 2 months ago checking him out. Mm-hmm. He came back. I think it's getting colder. He's getting less food. But the hawk was small, like smaller than the chicken.
Just like a little Cooper's hawk or something.
Yeah, I was kind of impressed and kind of just, not a good chicken owner, but I kind of watched to be like, can you do it? But
you can replace it.
But now he couldn't. Like, I mean, but yeah, they just roam and So
don't they dig up your yard? We used to have chickens. Don't they dig up your yard?
Yeah, but like, but I have like apple trees that are always we got apples always falling, and they just completely. They clean it up. Keep pests away. I kind of like them around for that. And the grass, the grass is not, it's not like new sod. It's pretty, there's like 5 different species probably growing, because it was like a survivalist yard and it was all dirt and they grew
when you bought it, you mean?
And there's like, yeah. It was a mess, man. Like, I'm just happy that there's something that's green in the back right now. I gotta lay down some nice sod. But right now I'm just being content with the seed.
Yeah.
And all the different species. I love it. But so until I do that, I'm going to let them roam. After that, I'm planning on putting like a little fence around the apple tree, and then they can just like hop up. They like to sleep in the apple tree, and then they can come down and
they do
spot. Yeah.
A lot of people don't know. No, we're getting way off topic here. A lot of people don't know this, but chickens kind of fly a little bit. I was shocked when I got chickens because you think that they're a flightless bird, but they more or less are. They're not going to cruise across, the neighborhood, but they can get up there.
dude, well, they know where it's at. Like they know that this is the place. Like I am the bringer of all good things. Like I'll give them compost, you know. If they want to leave, they're welcome to leave, you know. But but you know, they aren't going to get my compost, and you know, some other yard might not be as
That's
friendly,
funny.
you know.
That's funny. So
Yeah,
all
man.
that to say that you went to sleep afraid last night. Or-
Yeah, that was going to get rabies from chicken eggs from the raccoons that might have rabies biting them or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
too
but
much.
for sure, there's like there's a level of fear that you know one might have when they you know if you're trying to be a responsible person and take care of your family, or even when I was studying with you, I didn't have any children, but I knew I was going to have children, and so you know, gearing myself up to make my in-laws not ashamed of me was like a heavy pressure, right?
Yeah.
And it should be like it should be. I mean, if I was like my father-in-law and you know some kid who was me came around, I'd be like maybe giving him a bit of the side eye a little bit, you know. And so yeah, there was a lot of pressure there, and I was telling you that story when we talked on the phone the other day, like about wrestling, you know, and like I mean, yeah, you know, I was not a good wrestler at all, very
Hmm.
new, but I was able to somehow like win a fair amount of matches for from not being like experienced just by being really scared. You know, like I was like really terrified. I'm like half naked and all these people are looking at me and I'm just like I got to kill this guy. He's going to die. You know, like there's no
It's
way
him or
out
me.
of this
It's-
awkward situation except through this dude right now. You know, so there's always been kind of that same feeling like with every painting where it's like I gotta make it so good. It's gotta be
yeah.
so good because like every painting you get, man, is like a lot of trust that your client is giving you. They're giving you like their money, man. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And you know, you really want to deliver. And because if you don't, you know, might not get another opportunity. And that fact and that reality is always hovering over my head.
Yeah. I'm sure we've talked about this before, but I can't remember. But I had a friend way back in the day, so maybe 15 plus years ago, probably longer, maybe 20 years ago when I was first starting to make a living. And this guy is about 10 years older than me, and he was already a working artist. And I remember once being in his studio and he was finishing up a painting. And like I said, now I'm remembering, I was literally right out of school. So it was my first year in the art world. So just barely getting my feet wet, you know? And I'm in his studio. He's a seasoned professional. And he says, he's looking at his painting and he says, yeah, I think that's good enough. I was like, what do you mean good enough? He's
Mm,
like, the client's not going to notice this or that. And he
mm,
pointed a few things that weren't great. And I'm like,
mm.
I didn't say anything because that's, you know, it's not my place. But I remember thinking, that can't be a good way to approach this career. Like
No.
letting something out of your studio that you know is not your best work because you think the
Yeah.
client won't notice. And
Oh man.
have I ever told you about that?
No, I actually don't.
No?
Well, maybe if you did, I don't remember
Yeah.
this.
Well, this guy, he's still kind of just sort of at the same level, you know. In 20 years, he hasn't really progressed that much. And I mean, I haven't followed him too closely, but I haven't seen him sort of um, grow as an artist. And I think, and I know I've shared this with students before because I don't know, to me, that's like what you said, that is critical. Every painting, they're paying good hard-earned money for that. That's literally, you know, maybe something for their kids, something for their spouse. They're taking that money and giving it to you. And not only that, it's not only like this sense of responsibility that you have to deliver something that is worthy of their money, but also that the money's going to stop coming if you take shortcuts,
Yeah,
right?
man. It's so true. And that's what I love about painting, man. Is like you can see it. You can see it. It's all there to be for the viewer to experience. Like you can see if somebody's tired. You can see if somebody's like almost like insanely focused. and really pushing it. You can see if somebody's like, has a deadline. You could see it all. You could see it all. It's there for the viewer to take in, and that's what's
Yeah.
really cool about it. But that's
Cool
also
and
like,
frustrating.
right, like it's you can't. It's not like team sports where you can just like hide by people who aren't as tired. Hide
Right.
behind them.
Yeah. You don't want to
You
pass the
know,
ball to.
no, no, it's all there. It's all there to be seen. And especially when somebody who's experienced with painting, like they're going to be seeing your paintings. If not, like if your client's maybe maybe a new collector, uh, somebody who's not a new collector, somebody maybe another artist, they're going to see it and they'll know if you're slacking.
Here's the balance that I find really hard to strike. I mean, I do it. I put paintings out there to be seen, but it's always difficult because there are those times where it's not as good as you want it to be. That's freaking every
Right.
painting for me. Every painting is that way, right? So it's not
Yeah.
just times,
Yeah.
it's every
Uh-huh.
painting. So there's this balance between not putting a painting out there that is not good work and not your best work, but at the same time being willing to put a painting out there and not constantly hoarding your work because you're never good
Right.
enough in your own mind. Like
Right.
that's as tough. That's how I am I put my paintings out there, but every time I'm like, oh, here it goes. Like they're
Yeah.
gonna see
Well,
it. It's like you're putting yourself out there in your underwear and just going, all right, here I am. Just go ahead and look,
I mean, it's so true. It's so true. Well, so I mean, part of that I think is like you have deadlines eventually, right? You have to deliver it, um, and so at some point you have to be like, well, this is, I did everything I could within this given time frame to make it as best I could.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot. Is some of those deadlines, and those deadlines are, um, you know, I will stretch a painting out as far as I possibly as far as I possibly can. Um, and when it's no longer possible, that's usually because I couldn't afford. I just can't afford to continue, um, based off the level of the commission.
Right.
Um, and even then, to be honest, like I'll find ways to skirt, squeak in more hours and try to make it even better.
Yeah.
You know, so that there's like a natural law there that forces us to try to be as efficient and as effective as possible.
Yeah, I'm kind of skeptical of what you just said though.
Okay.
I don't believe that you would let a painting, because this is what I heard. If someone's paying you $10 for a painting, then you can't
Yeah.
deliver you can't deliver a $12 painting. I don't believe
Right.
that's you. I think you're going to
Yes.
deliver the maximum value that you're capable of, even if they're only paying you $10. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're not wrong. I mean, I've been paid. I mean, yeah. I mean that was a big thing you really brainwashed me for, was to make it as good as possible. I mean, even if you're being paid $0, uh, but rather, I guess what I'm trying to say is there's like, you have a goal, you have deadlines, and you try
Right.
to make things as good as possible and meet that goal,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
And you're always like maybe stretching it as a little bit further, but yeah, because there's other paintings you have to do, right? You only have so long on the planet. Like you have your unbelievably amazing, um, you know, Life of Christ series you're doing. Um, and the aim is for 9 months per painting,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
That's the goal. Yeah. It's a hard goal to
Yeah. So
reach.
I mean, 9 months per painting. What's probably going to happen is, if I were a betting man, it was probably be like a year, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe
Probably.
you will, but right. But that's how
Yeah.
it goes. Like we have a goal. It's like, I have 4 months for this, right? You stretch it to 6, but if you put it to 9, it's going to stretch to a year. I mean, we push them as far as we can. If you wanted, I guess you could technically spend the rest of your life on one painting. But depends on what the goal is.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a nightmare. But
Dude, I'm so excited for that project of yours. It's gonna be so cool.
I
It's
hope
gonna be
so.
so cool.
I appreciate that. I hope so. It seems so daunting sometimes because I'm on number 2 and I've got 25 more. It's like, holy crap, man. But no, it's something I want to do. So it doesn't, but it's just like, wow, man, I'll be like 65 before I'm done or something like that. But
yeah, but I imagine you'll get more effective and efficient in like getting, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I already am.
I mean,
Yeah.
you said you plateau, but I think even at like the highest levels, you still like can get in a rhythm, right?
Oh,
I mean, I
yeah.
would assume.
Yeah. I'm definitely, I'm figuring out just on this painting I'm doing now. I've already figured out a couple things I did wrong that were huge time losses that I'm not going to do on the next one. So if I can continue to find those little wasteful steps and eliminate them, that's going to be huge. I don't know that I'll ever actually paint faster, but I could paint more economically, just not putting unnecessary steps into the process.
One of my favorite things when watching you paint, I mean, you do the dual wield, man. You got 2 brushes in each hand. You're like
2 in each hand. I'm like
well.
One brush in each hand.
4. No. I mean what I said. You have 4 brushes.
One brush in each hand, one in each foot.
Love that. Come on, be honest with me. Do you show off with that a little bit? You're like, yo, watch. I'm ambidextrous. Yeah, right.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know about showing off, but it is. I don't know how people do it with just one hand. It's like so.
I know. It's what's going on.
Yeah, it's nice to have that other hand.
Little did you know, I'm actually, I do it with one hand and one foot. Right? Like, I'm using my toes, man.
You got to brush up your nostril, trying to get your head into the action.
No,
it's helpful.
So, I mean, I think about that all the time, like those little bits of, getting faster because, I mean, dude, I'm just like in the thick of life, like with these little babies I have. I mean, they're so
4.
cool, man.
What's
4.
the ages? What are the ages?
Can you believe that? I have 2 that are 2 months, and then I have a little 3-year-old and a 6-year-old.
That's wild.
And they're growing. I feel like I'm too young to have 4, but I'm not that young.
How old are you?
Getting old. I'm 34.
You're 34 now?
34.
Dude, it's been 15 years since you first came here.
I know.
Holy piss, that went by fast.
It's a long time, man. It's a long time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, before we know it, man, we're going to be dead.
Well, I will be, and then you'll still have another 15 years.
Yeah, I guess.
So when I die, just set the timer and just make it the best 15 years of your life at that point.
Right, man. Right. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, 15 years. Holy moly.
Yeah. Well, you know what I loved? Sorry, I didn't want to change.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just thinking this is like totally off topic, but I remember like at lunch at your studio, we just like kind of, shoot the breeze, and you're telling me, when you're a teen, you'd like do these prank calls. Do you remember that?
Yeah, dude, I'm sick that I don't have those anymore.
Well, I was just thinking you should use this like sweet podcast recording equipment you got
to do more,
and you should like just like start another podcast. Prank calls by Jeff.
Oh my gosh, dude, they were the best. I still am sick that I lost those prank calls.
Didn't you like put on the New York accent thick?
Oh,
something
yeah,
like that.
Yeah,
super thick.
Called a bowling alley. Just complaining that they lost my shoes. What do you do with my shoes? I don't have any shoes. I'm slipping all over the place here.
the upholstery place. Like,
with
make them think you're like Tiger King. You got big cats or something.
Yeah, good times. I know. It's funny because I'm 50 years old and I often fantasize about prank calling people, but I think the technology is too good now. They track me down. And then I'd probably get a cop knocking on my door saying, all right, where's the kid doing the prank calls? And I'll be like, oh, it's not really a kid.
Yeah. Well, maybe that would work to your advantage then,
Yeah.
right? Like you'd be like, Cole. Speaking of,
good times.
when's Cole getting back?
Chase.
Or excuse me, Chase.
Chase gets back in 2 months.
Dude.
And then he's gonna be studying painting with me.
Oh man,
so
that's cool.
Addie and Chase will be studying painting. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's
so
rad.
It's a good thing. I mean, I don't know if he'll stick with it. Who knows? But I mean, it's nice to think that everything I built here will get passed on to somebody. You know, it's not going to just end up in a estate sale when I die.
Right.
But other than that, I just want him to do what makes him happy. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie and say that I'm not a little bit relieved that everything that I've built here is going to be passed on. But you know what? All the money that it would have made in an estate sale would get passed on too. So, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, there's more than one way to pass on your legacy. But if they didn't want to be artists, I want them to do what makes them happy. You know, you're a dad now. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. The other thing, though, that is exciting about it is that I get to hang out with my kids indefinitely. You know,
right?
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, dude. I think about like my son. He comes in here and he draws all the time. You know, and I don't know what he's gonna do or what he wants to be, but he loves it. And he's like every day he wakes up and he's making something. It's not always drawing.
Really?
He's just making stuff. He loves making stuff. Yeah, both of them. And I think about it all the time. Like I was like, oh man, I wonder. You know, I don't know if they would. He says he wants to be an artist, but he's like 6, right?
Yeah,
so,
right.
You know, what 6-year-old doesn't say that? But I do like the idea of like the family business, right? Or it's because it's kind of tied up with like what's your family values, right? And what's your family culture going to be like? And you know, I'm totally brainwashing my kids. Totally brainwashing them because if I don't, somebody else will.
Yeah.
And you know, I want making things and observing things and paying attention to the things that we often drive by and we have, you know, people aren't really looking at paying attention to those things and letting that be part of their life, letting this, I don't know, this respect for nature, this respect for craftsmanship, this respect for um, uh, uh, building something that's hopefully going to last and be a part of that, whether that's a business or whatever they want. But I just want I just don't want them to be like a robot. I don't want them to, I just don't want them to be a robot.
I don't want my kids
as long as they're not
either.
a robot, right? We're good. Right?
I like what you just said. If I don't brainwash my kids, someone else will. I've never heard it put that way. That's so true.
It's 100% true, man.
It's like the brainwashing is just a negative way of saying teaching, you know. I like that. No. You know, I just had an interview with oh man, forgive me now. Leah Jew. She does drapery, just like trompe l'oeil drapery. And I think she was last week's. Yeah, she was last week's. And we were talking about kids. You know, I asked her if her kids are going to get into art, and she had said something. I told her mine are, and she's like, well, you must have provided, or something to this effect. You must have had a positive environment as an artist for them, something that they think this is a life that they want. And I've actually thought about that all week, ever since interviewing her. And I think that that's the case. I think to my kids, like, yeah, this is kind of, I could live like this. This episode is brought to you in part by Rosemary Brushes. If you're one of my listeners who's a professional artist, you're already using Rosemary Brushes. But for the rest of you, come on, take your work a little more seriously. Stop buying the other brands. It's just not worth it. Every now and then you may get lucky and buy a good brush from another brand, but Use the brand that professionals like myself are using. Go to rosemaryandco.com, link in the description or the show notes, and get yourself some quality brushes before your next painting. You know?
100%, man.
Yeah. And
100. I mean,
makes a
oh,
difference.
sorry. Yeah, no, totally does. I mean, what you said just got me excited, and that's why I started interrupting you because, like, we because I mean, I would say that was one of your biggest. I mean, there's so many contributions you've had to my career and my success, but the one that I think was the most powerful and still is to this day is just showing a model of like what a life like what does a an awesome art career look like, and what does because there's so many, you go to a university, there's so many professors that are just they're just bitter, they're kind of weird, they aren't focused on art, they're focused on weird political, school games. And you know I remember looking at you when I was young and came in your studio. I was like, this is what I want.
Hmm.
This is what I want. I want to make things. I want to tell stories. And I want to do it for the rest of my life. Like, this seems awesome. And I think as instructors, if you're an instructor out there, like, one of the biggest benefits you can have to students is uh, um, giving them the encouragement and the example to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there's so many people that will say you can't. There's so many reasons not to. It's really a crazy thing to do. But if you can look over and say, hey, look at such and such, and it keeps you just drawing, keeps you in it. I mean, that's huge. Just staying in it keeps the needle
Mm-hmm.
moving, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking about when I was in college. I can't even count how many times my teacher said, you can't make a living doing this. It's impossible. And I don't know what in the world. Well, I have some ideas, but I look back and I often think I was crazy to just ignore all that and keep pushing forward, because it was not encouraging to say, to say
Right,
the least, and it wasn't
right.
just me based on my work. That was just the general mood and attitude in the art department. It's like, we're not making it, so you can't make it, right? We're
What
not
the
selling
heck, man?
paintings.
Like,
We
what
have to
is
have a
that?
job, so you can't sell paintings. You better get a job, you know?
Right. I mean, that's crazy.
It
That's
is. I mean, I
crazy.
get it in a way because that's their reality, right? I mean, we all sort of see the world based on our own experiences, right?
Sure.
But and sometimes I kind of wonder as a teacher if I'm doing a disservice by being so encouraging, because what if that student doesn't have that potential and I'm like, you can do it?
Right.
I mean, there's two ways to look at it. So fortunately for you, you're doing it, right? So I
Yeah.
feel guilt free. But there's two ways of looking at it. You could encourage someone right into the poorhouse, or you could
Right.
discourage someone and save them from the poorhouse, or you could discourage the next Da Vinci and sort of screw the entire world by making the next Da Vinci working a 9 to 5 somewhere in an office in a cubicle because you discouraged him.
Yeah, that's true. It's
Yeah,
true.
it's kind of interesting. So as a teacher, I'm often like, oh gosh, am I doing the right thing? Should I be encouraging people and saying, look, what I have, you can have this too? Or should I be neutral, or should I be discouraging and saying, well, the statistics are such and such, right? I
Right.
actually know the answer to that. I'm always going to be encouraging, because I still in my heart believe that if you can get to a certain level, you can make a living.
Right.
I really
Well,
believe that.
but I mean, okay. So I had a student not
Mm-hmm.
too long ago who was just like I need to get a skill set to have like a side job um
Hmm.
while I make art. Um
What did you say?
and Well, it was like it's circumstantial, right? So like
Yeah.
I put myself in their shoes. I mean, she's not. I mean, she doesn't have any financial support. Um, and and I mean,
Yeah, it's tricky.
she's like she's doing jobs, but they aren't paying very much. And so like if you're going to be, single without any other support, or if you have a job that doesn't pay much, I mean, you'll get more hours painting and drawing if you had a job that paid a little bit better. And I was like, that might not be a bad idea in your case, Um,
Mm-hmm.
and but that would be to continue to paint. That'd be continue to make things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And but some people aren't in that boat. Well, I mean, what's so sad to me, what is just a complete waste and tragedy, is when people have so like unlimited resources, unlimited time, um, and unlimited opportunities to instructors who know what they're doing and squander it. Like that's
Dude,
just
that reminds
a
me.
complete tragedy.
It's so sad. That reminds me. Do you remember you said that about, I'm like, yeah, you're okay in the beginning of the conversation?
Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah.
that dude who came into the class with you approximately the same time when you
Yeah,
started,
I
who was
do.
really, really good?
Dude, he was wicked good.
He was
Yeah.
naturally really, really good. And I remember thinking, like, between the two of you, he was definitely ahead of you from the start, from the starting point. But where is this guy?
He's nowhere, man.
He's
He's
nowhere.
nowhere. He's nowhere.
Like
He's
he
nowhere.
quit. He quit after what? He was only there like 3 months. And then
Right.
I've never heard from him again. I've never seen his work. I've never heard about him or of him, or he's gone. Just so
Yeah.
for my guess is he's doing something else. But to your
No, you know
point,
what?
it's like, what a tragedy this, but also another point, this is probably a more significant point, is you did have a lot of talent, right? Maybe this kid started out ahead of you. I don't know I don't remember what his background was.
Drew different things. Like I would before I came to you, I did things exclusively out of my imagination.
Yeah, like
Like I would do
cartoons and
like
stuff.
yeah, like just wild, like trippy stuff because I was bored. Like I drew and made things to entertain myself, and it was a personal outlet. I mean, I remember seeing your sketchbook of like you had the like exact same
Oh
sketchbook
yeah, it was this
as
angsty
I did,
teenager
man.
art.
It
Yeah.
looked it like you could have put my sketchbook next to yours, and they looked extraordinarily similar. Like
Yeah.
just wild, angsty, and you think you're so deep. You're like, yeah, I'm
I
so
know.
deep,
I know.
but
When I was on my mission, I carried around my sketchbook. And just because I thought, you never know, maybe I'll meet somebody who's going to make my career. I was so clueless then because I thought I might be an illustrator. And I thought, who knows, maybe like an illustration company or a company that hires illustrators will discover me in Utah. So I carried around my pictures of some of my angsty teenage sketches in my backpack. And I was at a dinner appointment with this family, and he was an art teacher, I think at like Salt Lake Community College, if I remember right, somewhere like that. It might have been a high school, but it was a high school. So I was like, "Oh, you're an art teacher. I like to do art." And I probably said I was an artist at the time, which is ironic because I don't say it anymore. But I like to do art, and he's like, "Oh, really?" He was so unimpressed. And I was like, "Yeah, can I show you?" So I show him, and he goes, "That's typical."
well, he's not wrong, man.
No,
He's not wrong.
I was so offended. I was so offended. Like he just shot me down, and I resented the guy, and I'm just like feeling like sorry for myself. But I look back and I'm like, yeah, that was typical. It was
Did
so
you, okay, let,
it was so
let me ask
stupid,
you
the
this.
stuff I was drawing. So stupid.
Did you ever, okay, let me ask you this. I remember in junior high, it was a total Napoleon Dynamite scene where like there's this really pretty girl. I thought she was so pretty, so pretty. And and she
Not
she was
not as
like
pretty as Cass though, right?
definitely not as pretty as
Okay, just
Cass,
saving
but to
your
my
tail
little
there.
to,
Yeah.
to my little junior high mind, I was like, man, that girl's so pretty. No, my wife blows it out of the water. I mean, I mean,
I know.
come on, you're an
I know.
artist. Be unobjective. She
No, your
is
wife is
like,
gorgeous.
she's a stunner, man. She's a
She
stunner.
is.
You know, I remember like being like, man, I want to have babies with her. Yeah.
The junior high girl.
No, 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 no.
We're still on
Cass.
Cass. Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
You were on Cass. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for saving my tail, by the way. But I remember I was like, oh man, that girl's pretty. And I remember like I drew her I drew her drawing, right? And I was like, and
You
I
drew her
like I
drawing? What does
gave
that
it
mean?
to her. I drew her a drawing.
Oh,
Sorry.
a drawing.
I might
Okay.
have misspoke. Yeah, I drew her a drawing. And and she was like super friendly. And dude, I got a kiss out of it. I got a
What?
kiss out
How
of
did
it. And I
that work?
remember I got a kiss. It happened. So I took it, I brought it over to her house, and I think her parents were like off somewhere, and she was like, "Oh, you're so sweet," you know. And I got a little junior high smooch, man. And I remember that moment being like, this is valuable.
This
This
is
is a
power.
thing
My
that is
talent is
valuable.
power. That's classic.
Right, you know, it's like
Oh man.
it's, you know, one of the sparks, you know. um but it's a little bit of a party trick, you know, when you're young. And then it's kind of like you're a magician in some way, like when you discover you have talent and you're like, whoa, I can do these things, and other people can't. Like, what is this, you know? And you
Yeah.
just keep rolling with it. And then you get a little bit older, and you get, you know, then you get plugged into, you know, your studio, or some other program, and you're just like, oh man, like I am not good, right? And I think there's a lot
Yeah,
of
it's
people who get
humbling.
plugged into that position, and they're like, and they give up because they've been told they're awesome all their lives. um you know, so what would you say the level is now as opposed to when I was around?
Well, there was a lot of turnover back then, right? So we kept having a lot of
Hmm.
beginners, and then they'd leave, and then more beginners and they'd leave. So there was this at least 4 or 5 beginners at all times, if not more, right?
Right.
Now
Right.
there are not even close. Everyone is close to paint. If not, they're either
Wow.
painting or they're right at the cusp of painting. Every single student.
Right. Are
So
you
it's kind of nuts.
continuing? Are you going to continue the in person?
I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do.
Right.
I'm not sure. It's still up in the air. But right now I'm only taking 10. I used to take
Okay.
12. I'm only taking 10. And then as they drop out, I'm going to not fill it for a while and see how comfortable I am with fewer students. And then comfortable meaning socially. It's not about the money. It's my students. I'm the cheapest place in the country, like by far. So I'm not making any money on them anyway, really.
Right.
But no, I mean comfortable socially, because you know me, like I'm definitely an extrovert, and
Hmm.
I'm not 100% sure I could be happy coming to the studio every day if I was alone. It would be
Right.
might be pretty depressing for me.
Yeah.
So I got to figure that out. I don't know. So I'm gonna just let it be what it is. You know, I'll let it um, what's the word? Organically evolve, and see. So, but we've got a great
Yeah.
group right now. 10 students that are just, it's like a big family. We're going to a movie on Tuesday night. It's going to be fun. Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's a great group right now. So,
I I
it'd
took a
be hard to
bunch.
take them, to get rid of everybody altogether, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, they do become family, especially in your
Oh yeah.
studio, because it's like, I mean, I was there just all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I went out with my students to a rock opera. Uh,
Nice.
you gotta check this out, man. It's called Deep Love. It
Really?
sounds weird, but it's awesome. It's like I mean, it is what it is. It's a rock opera. But we all went to it, and it was rad. You know, it has a little
Huh.
cult following, and you know, we've been going to dinner. And yeah, I understand that, though I don't have the same situation as you where people come and go. It's just
Right. It's more of a once a week, twice a week kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. But still, you still get close to your students that way too. But
Right.
yeah, we literally live together here. I mean, not literally, we're not sleeping here, but I mean, some of these students, I see them 6 days a week for, 6, 8 hours a day. So yeah, you don't see your family that much. You do because you work at home, but most of us
Right.
don't. Yeah, most of us don't see
Yeah.
our families that much. So, but I'm
Yeah.
also lucky too because I do see my daughter that much. She's one of them. So, and
Right.
soon to be my son, one of my sons.
Yeah. That's one thing I'm trying to figure out right now is like I'm quickly running out of space and I'm like, do I build well, we were just talking about this. I was like, do I build an extension or do I get a new place that's not, attached to my home? I'm not sure. We'll
Yeah.
see where it goes, but I'm definitely going to need more space soon here.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was talking to Jeff Larson on the podcast. He just bought this 6,000 square foot. I think he said it was 6,000. It was maybe it was 12,000. It might have been 6,000 per floor now that I think about it. Anyway, whatever. It's way bigger than my studio. And I said, oh man, I need a studio about like that size. And he goes, well, get one, but get it. Oh, it was 6,000 because I remember what he said now.
Wow.
I said, I need a 6,000 square foot studio because as you know, mine's about 3. And because I'm growing out, I'm busting at the seams here. He goes, well, get a 9,000 because you fill it up fast. I'm like, oh my gosh,
true, man.
Doesn't matter where you are, you fill it.
It's true. It's true. Like I remember, yeah. So maybe I should get, because I could only add at least, well, I do have I have a quarter acre. And
When everyone in Utah County is building studios, someday you're going to build a studio. I predict that. Someday you're going to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, freak, you're right. I mean, I would, Brian Mark Taylor, Ben Hammond, David Dibble.
Yeah.
Dude's just all built sweet studios. We're having there's the Utah Valley Studio Tour, and I'm like embarrassed. I'm like, oh gosh, like maybe you guys don't come by here because they just have sick, sweet studios.
They do.
Up that just went up in the last couple of years, and I'm like, oh man. But hey, they didn't buy houses at the freaking peak of the market,
Oh,
so,
dude, I know. I don't know how you did
I can at least have that as my excuse, right?
That's a legitimate excuse. If I had to buy my house today, I don't know what I'd do. I'm like literally saving money, so hopefully I can help my kids buy houses because I don't know how they're going to do it unless something changes. It's crazy. And then becoming an artist at the same time, it's like, dude, yeah, kudos to you, man. You're doing it. You figured it out.
And I don't even understand, like how are why are houses going up in price so much? Because I feel like people are having less and less babies. I was like, where are all these people coming from? How's the housing
You just hit it on the
getting?
head because less children, and now there are more 2-income households than ever before. So we got 2-income households. Let's say they both make $100,000 a year. That's 200,000, and they have no overhead with kids. So they're just they're just driving up the price of houses for the rest of us. So if you're like you and I who take care of an entire family, including our spouse, on our income, we're screwed.
Right.
Well, we're not. Yeah. We're both doing it, but it seems kind of unfair, but it's our own choice. My wife could go to work, but neither she nor I, we like it better this way. So
right, it's right now at the stage in our life, it's not possible.
4 little kids under 6.
Yeah, 6 with these 2 little babies and other. I mean, it's just and Cassie's brilliant. She really is. But at this stage in life, we're all hanging out here for now, and I'm painting and selling them. So that's what we're doing for a while.
Yeah. All right, so. Here's some stuff I want to talk to you about. Why did you switch to egg tempera? Because first of all, I'll start with this. I actually feel kind of bad because I often start because I'm meeting a new person I shower them with compliments because I mean it, because I get the best guests in the world on here, I think.
Right.
but you're up there with them. But since we're already friends, I forgot to shower you with compliments. But I'll tell you right now, you're amazing, dude. Your work is
Thank you.
in fact, I'm not just saying this. I was looking at your website to set up the whole podcast, and it's not very often I go to your website because why? I mean, I know you, I see originals every now and then anyway. And you don't come up in my feed very often these days for some reason. You know how that is.
What the heck, Instagram? Come on.
I know, freak. But dude, your work, man, you've got a nice body of work on your website. That's like, holy crap, you've become something big, man. Like
Thank you.
I seriously, I mean, I knew you were great at painting, but that's the first time I've seen all of your work in one place and was genuinely floored.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good, man.
I don't have all, I have a fair amount on there, but I do need to put some more.
Well, just a body of work though. And,
Right,
just
right.
seeing that whole body of work is really impressive. But what's interesting is I never taught you, I don't know anything about egg tempera. I know after you left me, you went to Grand Central for a year, and I don't think you studied egg tempera there.
No.
Right. So, which by the way, I don't want to just skim over that. I'm just going to say, because you've already been on other podcasts and I think you've told this story. So I will refer everyone to the Creative Endeavor with Andrew Tischler to hear about your whole education. Is that fair? But I will say this, that you put that same work ethic into 1 year at Grand Central Academy that you did 4 something years with me, and just like hardly got any sleep, and just like I think you said like 8 to 8 every day or something like that. Every single day.
It was about, I mean, dude, it was from, well, I'd get up at like 6:37, and then I'd get to the studio at about 8. And then you'd start at like 8:30. And then I would, we had a half an hour for lunch, and then I'd do an hour for dinner at 5 or 6. And then I would go till about, this kid named John Brody, I think that was his name. He would lock up the studio, and he would usually, we were supposed to close at 10, but he would always actually close at 11. I'd go home at 11 and,
so even longer than I said.
Go to bed.
Dude.
I mean, it was around, I mean, there's some variation, but it was pretty consistent. And I did it like 6 days a week. And I'm not exaggerating. Because I knew
you were still living in that fear. You're like, I've only got 1 year and I'm getting the most out of this.
Yeah. Because I mean, I knew that, like it was time, it's going to be time to make real money very soon. And it was, I mean, yeah, people can listen to that podcast, but long story short, I mean, I was very grateful that I was able to get some money out of school and get some commission work, which, I mean, you were part of that, and, telling some people about me. And then, some people saw that painting you see in that corner over there, and, it got the ball rolling, man. It got the ball rolling. And, it was crazy. It was like half an hour after Cassie told me she was pregnant, I got an email for like some significant work. And yeah, dude, it was, I mean, it's so crazy because I can imagine a scenario where I could have done all that work and like just the right pieces might not have fallen where they did, and I'd be in a completely different situation. Which is like kind of terrifying to think, but that keeps on being the case, man. That keeps on being the case every time. Like, I would love like a 5-year project, man. That would be rad. But currently I keep on getting about enough income for like 8 months, a year and a half. And then, I work, and then it slowly, right? And then my stress levels go up, and I start acting crazy and aggressive, and
they start
like
calling
cagey, and then I'm like, Jack, what am I gonna do, man? What am I gonna do? I got no other marketable skills. What am I gonna do?
What have you told me? You said I had potential.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a recipe to fight, especially if you have kids, man. Like a lot of people talk about like kids as if they're, like, and I do paint probably half the time that I used to before I have children. but like having kids, it definitely motivates you, man. And that's a bit of a
Mm-hmm.
superpower. And I mean, you hold them. I was just holding my son McLean, one of the twins. I was just like, like just to smell, like it
A
just like
baby
feeling that
smell.
little warm body. It's like it was like a drug. Like I felt like, you feel like you can become the Incredible Hulk or something because like, and I feed him that little bottle and he has like this like these little breasts. It's like, he's like finding it, he grabs on. It's like just the cutest thing. And like you really have to have no soul to like not have that propel you in incredible ways. It
Yeah.
really is a propellant for sure. Yeah, it was a little bit of tangent, but yeah, it's true.
No, that's yeah. You're so right. It yeah. When you got people depending on you, you feel like failure is just not an option.
No,
It's just
no,
not an
like
option.
it's not. It's
Yeah.
not like I didn't. I mean, I didn't sleep at all last night, but that was partly my own fault. Like I was up, and then for some reason I'm thinking about raccoons, right? Yeah, whatever. But like it like doesn't affect me. Like I'm just like I have to go. Like there's things to be done. Like I'm sorry, I'll have to sleep. I'll crash on Sunday. But before, like when I was single, but like I'd be like, like take it easy or something,
Yeah. Stop
it's just a
kidding
lot
yourself. You
easier.
never took it easy.
Oh,
You
there was a
might
time.
feel different. You might feel different. Well,
Right,
maybe before you met me, you took it easy, but
right.
I never
No,
saw
yeah,
that side
for
of you.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a scrubby John phase for sure. There's a scrubby John phase where I think I was like 13. And I was like, I remember there was like 2 years of my life where I like played too many video games. And then I
Really?
remember, well, yeah, I like, I was like my friends would play video games and I'd play with them and then they started playing video games more and I was like there's like this creeping feeling of like ugh, like what am I doing? And like I was like around 13 I kind of like snapped out of it and I was like gosh, like I wasted so much time with you, like what are we doing, and it kind of passed, but
That's right. I
that
remember you
that's
bringing your like Nintendo or Xbox or something to the studio and trying to sell it.
oh yeah, yeah.
You did this
Come
thing.
on, you're lying, you're
No,
lying.
you did. You did. You don't
No
remember
way.
that? Yeah, you
No.
totally did. I
Oh no
think.
no 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 no. Here's what happened. Here's what
Oh,
happened.
okay.
No, I won an Xbox in like a laser.
Oh,
Like there was like this like thing at like this. That was with my wife. It was like a party and like the winner of some laser tag got an Xbox and I like won an Xbox through laser tag. And I didn't want an Xbox because I don't play video games. And I was like talking
no,
with Tony.
the fake story's better. The fake story's better.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, fake story.
That's
Yeah, I was just
funny.
trying to
So
hawk.
wait, so
Yeah.
you won it playing laser tag? Did you approach laser tag? Did you like you did wrestling? You're so freaking afraid there's no way you're gonna lose.
Well, no, there's a carrot, there's a goal. Usually, like you play laser tag, it's like, oh, choo-choo, like, whoa, fun. But when
Uh-huh.
there's a prize, you're like, oh, game on, man. I'm gonna shoot all those little kids and rack up the points, get that Xbox. And
Oh my
I didn't want
gosh.
it, so I think I like
That's funny.
sold it or gave it to Tony or something like that because I was like, well, I don't really need this.
Yeah, I
But it
remember
was
no one
like,
wanted to buy it. It was fruitless.
yeah, it's true. It's
That was
true. Yeah,
funny.
that's funny. It's funny.
Okay,
I
so
remember that.
back to my original question. We keep going on tangents. It's great. So, how you come out of Grand Central Academy and then you start doing oil painting for a while? I'm going to pull up a slideshow so people can see your work. This is one of the first paintings you did of your grandpa. It blew my
Yeah.
mind. Blew my
Yeah,
mind.
man.
Anyway,
Yeah.
and then you started doing this. A few years later, you started doing this egg tempera. What happened? What led to the egg tempera?
I've been doing Jeff's online mentorship program for about a year now, and it is awesome. Everything is online, super streamlined. If you can be there, you have the ability to talk to him once a week and he can review your work and help you. If you can't be there, it's pre-recorded. You can go back and even re-watch things if you missed something during class or couldn't be there. So the online portion of it is almost better than real life because you can always go back to it, which is awesome. The demos are recorded. it's just like all available whenever you need it. And I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4, and my time is limited, and it's also very interrupted. And so to be able to go back has been clutch for me. And you get to work with Jeff HEIN, who's awesome. He's tough. The assignments are simple, but difficult, and they're difficult to make us all better. And he's able to give us these assignments, coach us through it, help us stay excited to progress. And so it's just been a great experience. I am so grateful that he has been willing to take time away from his own art to offer all of us to have it. So if you're thinking about doing it, it's amazing.
To learn more about how you could have me as a personal mentor, check out the link to HEINatelier.com in the show notes or video description.
Dude, it really is wild because there was no other influence. I can't say that for a lot of things. Like I love looking at what other people are doing and be like, oh, that's such a good idea. Both contemporary and past artists. I'm like, wow, I got to try that. But egg tempera was sincerely one thing that just plopped into my mind, seemingly out
Into
of
your
nowhere.
mind. So
Yeah.
you had an idea and then you went out and bought it. It wasn't kind of like you saw it in the store and you're like, I'll try this.
Yeah. No, yeah, it totally was 100% like the book, the War of Art,
Yeah.
right? Like he talks about the muse. He's like, where does it come from? Like, where do these ideas come from? And he views it as like a divine thing. And I might agree there, but it just really came out of nowhere, man. I just thought about I just, I think there was a level of during COVID, everyone was on screens.
Mm-hmm.
And and phones were getting nicer and everything was getting a lot more sleek. More pixels, more color, more beautiful images. And it started making me feel like I wanted I think I intuitively was like hunting for something that felt a little bit more dreamlike and wasn't like what I was seeing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first came to you, I loved color, and that's partly your influence, but just intuitively, like my personality, I was like, yeah, but there was there it must have been just like my mood or situation at the time where I was just seeking out these muted dreamlike feels, which egg tempera is really, really phenomenal at producing. I mean,
But you must not have
there's
known that in the beginning, did you? I mean,
well, I no, no. Okay, so here was the thought process. I started looking at Robert Vickery. I have his book over here. What is it? Robert Vickery, I believe is his name. Might
okay.
be
I'm not
mispronounced.
familiar.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then of course Andrew Wyeth, and these. And then I started looking at Michelangelo, which is fresco, right? Fresco, but that's a tempera based paint,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there was just a kind of a draw, and then I was like, what, I think with Robert, I was like, what's this guy painting in? Like, what is this? And I just started, seeing
Huh.
like tempera, and I just went down the rabbit hole.
What's this guy's name again?
And the Robert Vickery. Let me see his book. I have it right here. Just a second.
Vickery.
Yeah.
Robert Sage Vickeroy, maybe?
Here. No, I'm saying. I think I'm saying it right.
Some dude named Robert Sage Vickeroy came up, so I don't think that's him.
Let's see here. It's new painting techniques in egg tempera.
How do you spell his last name?
Vickery. Vickrey.
Vickery. Okay.
Dude, this is such a
Interesting.
good book. I have it right here. It's like black and white, but like check out some of these. Yeah, yeah. Like, do you see this like dreamlike feel? Like, check these out. Like in this book right here.
Yeah, no, I can pull those exact ones up. I saw them.
Yeah.
They're bike ones right here.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's just something. There's something like
That's egg
appealing about
tempera,
it.
really?
It's like Tempa. Yeah.
No
Yeah, I
kidding.
was like, dude, look at this guy. And I was like, what is this? Like, why does it have this like why do I feel like I'm looking back into a
Where'd
dream
you find that
or
book?
like a memory? I don't know. I think it was just online. I might have like come across something that led me to seeing that it was egg tempera and then made me curious. Like, I was like, what's this all about? And then I was like getting all into Andrew Wyeth, and
He's
just
good.
loving what he was doing, right? So anyways, I started reading his book and I was like, man, I gotta try this. And what I loved about it was is really conducive to what you taught me with optical mixing, man. Like,
Yeah.
dude, that stuff. And I remember I heard you talking with Andrew Tischler about taking taking transparent and opaque
Yeah.
paints,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm not entirely sure if I understood. So correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, but did you talk about transparent paint not necessarily being thin, but being piecey? Is that
No,
is
no,
that
transparent. It doesn't necessarily have to be super thin. It's just a transparent, meaning that the the particles within the paint, the actual pigment itself, the pigment particles are actually transparent. Where a lot
right?
of people think that it's transparent because there's fewer particles and you see between the particles. No, they're actually transparent or translucent particles like shards of stained glass or little tiny, you know what I
Right.
mean?
So if we have a big like ball of paint particle, one and you shine light through it, one will have more light shine through it than the
Right.
other,
It'll be like a
correct?
giant marble. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So how do you
A
know
clear
which
marble.
one? How do you know which one's clear and which one's opaque? The
Well,
little
the
pigment
you can
pigment
so there's a
particles.
couple of signs. Um if you don't, first of all, you can read it right on the tube. That's the most obvious thing.
Right.
But the other,
Does it say transparent? Well,
it'll say how
yeah,
transparent it
like
is. Yeah.
transparent red oxide, right? Okay.
No. But even on the back of the tube, it'll say how transparent it is. It'll say transparent, semi-transparent, opaque, or something on many brands. But the other thing is, if you stack layers of stained glass, just try and visualize this.
Yeah.
Imagine I hold up a piece of stained glass in between me and you. Okay, it's like a blue stained glass. I might be able to see you through it, and let's say
Oh,
it's 50% gray. So it's approximately like the color of this little painting right here. That's the color, or that's the value of it, right? Oh, I got the
okay.
wrong. Let's say that's the value of that stained glass. Okay,
Okay.
not the color, but the value. That's how dark it is.
Gotcha.
Now
Gotcha.
I take another sheet of the same stained glass and put it on top of that, and then another one on top of that, and then another one on top of that.
Okay.
What's going to
Yeah.
happen to the glass? What to the value of the glass?
It's gonna get darker.
It's going to get darker, right? Because less light can come through it.
Right.
So transparent paints are almost always, if not always, very, very dark and deep colors
Right.
because you're literally stacking particles of transparent glass. Not necessarily glass, but just for the sake of the example. So they're going to be dark because it's going through it. If you can visualize
Hmm.
it, the light's going halfway through the glass and getting absorbed into it, and it's not coming all the way through, right?
Right.
And as opposed to if it were opaque glass, then obviously it's not going to pass through, but from the viewer, it's going to bounce directly off. So no matter how many layers you put on, it's always going to be the same value because you're only seeing the top layer, right?
That makes sense. That makes sense. I
Yeah.
thought that was really interesting because it like maybe you taught me that but and that's why I started doing this with tempera. Um, but I take a very similar approach in that like if you look at this painting of that little girl,
Here, let's pull up
I
your.
block.
I'm going to pull up your website so we don't have to look at that slideshow. Um, can I look at this one right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I block, I'll do kind of like a posterized block in like what you taught a lot of your students, taught me, with some of these blacks, right?
Yeah.
But
Do you
then
actually use black pigment? It's
black pigment, black ivory black.
no kidding.
Actual
Seriously, you
black.
posterize
Yep.
with ivory black.
Ivory black. It's just black and white.
You didn't
right?
get
And I
that
just
from
do
me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, no black, right?
No. Well, I do now, but I didn't then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I started. I found some use for black in that. I mean, it's a chroma killer, but that can be an advantage sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, but I'm piecing these little bits of color on top of those dark values, making them darker. And with tempera, you have to. It's almost a little bit like watercolor, in some regards, where you can have if you want something to be extremely white, you want the surface, the surface of the panel that you might be painting on to be exposed, like you might be doing with watercolor. You don't have to, but if you want it to be extremely white, you'll want to do that. But
is that what's going on right here, or is that paint?
Yeah,
that's the canvas. Maybe.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I know with that painting of the Second Coming on the lightest moment is
it's
the
canvas. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, let me look at that real quick.
Panel, technically.
Yeah, right here. This painting is amazing. So you get build up. You can't build up too much, I think you told me, because it can crack, right?
Yes. So you can have textures and everything. Like Rob, that book I was telling you, new techniques for egg tempera.
Yeah.
You for sure can have textures. However, you just have to do them. You have to do them thin. So
it's the opposite of oil then. Your lights are thinner than your darks.
Right. Now, so if you want it to catch, you can build up the lights to catch.
Okay.
But your value scale, because it kind of it mutes itself.
Is it because it has egg yolk in it, so it's not pure white? Is that why?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Partly. I have thought of using like casein, or even doing some oil on top for some of the whitest moments, but as of now, I've just for this one, I just used the white of the panel here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. But that whole optical mixing approach, I mean, it's brilliant. First of all, it's brilliant for color, right? Because we're
wonder if I have. I just want to show people what optical mixing is. I mean, I will go back to your work, but I want to show them what you mean, because you said you did an assignment here with optical mixing. So I'll actually show. So this is my online school. I don't know if you've seen this, John.
No, you showed me.
Oh, I did? Okay. And then let's see. It would be in the painting. And where is optical mixing? Right here. So these are a couple examples of optical mixing. So this is, you can see the detail of it right there.
Mm-hmm.
So that they, in this case, they started with green. Did you start with green too?
Yeah.
Started with green underpainting and then just added red and yellow and blue and whatever dots. Anyway, so go ahead. So that's what optical mixing is. So you were saying about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the approach, I love the approach, kind of what like Rose Francis was talking about, where she's like thinking, more red, more yellow, more blue, right? Just fluctuating between like, and it's a really intuitive approach, because you're like, because I mean, when you're looking at things, most things are going to have every color out there. It's just the ratio, like, what ratio. And I really appreciate the intuitive approach, because you feel like you're baking on the fly, right? You're
Yeah,
like,
that's
oh,
a
a little bit more
good way of
salt, a
putting
little
it.
bit more sugar, a little bit, whereas like something like the Munsell palette, it's like, 0.23 Van Dyke Brown, it's like, or making these strings. Like I like making strings, especially if I'm going to be doing like a wide swath of a section to get those perfect transitions. You have to hit it like once, otherwise you can't like remix it, Um,
Like a
but
sky or something.
yeah, like a sky. Like I've done things where I have had sections on a sky where like I just pre-mixed the paint
Yeah.
perfectly and tubed it, and I was able to like come back. But really, you have to just try to get it just out in one go. Um, but with this optical mixing approach, it's like uh, it's a lot easier for me, anyways, to get into that trance-like state that
Yeah.
and get into that feel of playing where I'm like I'm not stressing, I'm not uncomfortable, I'm not like I'm just in that flow state, where it's more red, more yellow, more blue, more red, more yellow, more blue,
It's so
more
interesting.
chroma, less chroma.
Of all my students, you might be the only one that really attached to that lesson. Like it really hit
Powerful.
home for you. It's just interesting, the different temperaments of students, but I'm with you 100%. Obviously, or I wouldn't, obviously I optical mix too, but, and the way you're describing it, like adding a little sugar, adding a little salt, adding a little this, that's exactly how it feels. That is a perfect analogy.
Right.
It's just, it feels more fun that way. Ooh, a
Right.
little bit of salt, taste it.
Yeah.
Not quite good enough. A little bit more, taste it. Yeah. Where it's instead of this methodical approach of like, okay, get the perfect color, put it down. Like, oh, that's a perfect analogy. But it's interesting though that it really clicked for you more than most. A lot of people don't really like that approach.
I mean, I love it, man. It's fun. And when I'm playing, when I get into that flow play state, that's when I'm having a good time. And that's when the work ends up being so much better.
I hadn't seen this painting until today, and I see it on your easel behind you. I want to know how much you're selling that one for. I'm off camera. I probably can't afford it, but that's gorgeous, dude.
Well, so it was actually commissioned.
Ah,
It was
balls.
actually commissioned.
Suck.
So, dude, this is actually a really cool painting. Can I tell you the story?
Yeah, tell me about
it. So I was at the hospital with my new baby boys. Like my wife is in the hospital for 3 or 4 days. And so, it was like on this, second or third day, and we're just kind of hanging out, taking care of the babies. And I get this call from this woman who's really cool. I've known her. She's purchased work for me before. And she tells me, she's like, hey, I was just diagnosed with breast cancer.
this woman here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep,
that's
that
so
woman here.
sad.
She said, I'm going to have to undergo chemotherapy and surgery. And
Double
my
mastectomy
husband,
or single?
double,
Oh,
I believe. I mean, I could be mistaken, but I think that's
cancer
what she said.
sucks.
It's well,
Yeah.
right? And she's like, my husband and I, we want to commission a figure painting before my body undergoes chemotherapy and surgery. And I wasn't going to post it online, but she said it was okay. Just actually recently, and I'm glad she did, because I feel like this is it's a cool thing to do, man. It's a cool
Heck
thing
yeah.
to let posterity know, and to kind of encapsulate that your body, like this thing that has served you and been so good to you. And I can't imagine having to deal with having to poison it and having to get it cut up.
God, dude, that's
terrible.
heartbreaking.
It
Man,
really
they hired
is.
the right guy, because that is a gorgeous piece.
Thank you. Yeah.
Seriously.
I mean,
can you zoom in on here? No, dang it. I want to zoom in.
if you go to my Instagram, I have close-ups.
All right, let's go there.
little
Oh
sections
yeah.
there.
See, man, I don't even see your Instagram for crying out loud. It sucks. I love the red line you put around it on
Yeah,
parts.
that hand was hard. So I painted a good portion of this from life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then, I changed up the arm and the hand, and I was from where she was sitting when I was with her in person. And you know, uh that hand was giving me a real hard
This one or
time.
the other one?
The other one, that one, yeah,
Whoops.
and so there's this there's this temptation when you're struggling with the painting to just like kind of like hide it,
Just
right?
put a
Like
hook
just
on it.
like just like
Yeah.
kind of like just like push it away and make it like not super apparent, make it kind of like it could blow away like smoke or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. But I remember very distinctly with that hand, and it giving me a hard time being like, no, I'm gonna like it was a total temperament thing where I was like, I'm gonna just freaking make this super bold and just very apparent and really stick out because it's giving me such a hard time, and I'm gonna just own this hand, you know.
Hmm.
And it was kind of and the,
Isn't
the
that
thing I
funny?
love about tempera is that it totally reacts to you and it responds immediately.
Wait, what do you
um
mean by that?
well, like with oils, I sometimes, it's goopy, it has to dry, right? And it
Oh,
it
okay.
does it does respond, but um there's like some strategy and some tiptoeing sometimes, like where you have to
Oh,
like
I see what you mean.
wait
So, because
wait
it dries
wait
fast, it's just like, this
right.
is it. There's no going back. You've done it. There it is.
Yeah, it's kind of
Right.
like I was telling you, like it almost feels like, I mean, have you ever like punched a punching bag and
Mm-hmm.
it's like frustrating because you feel like you're not getting anywhere with it. You're like, oh, come on. But with tempera, because it responds so quickly on my decision making, I feel like I'm in a fight, but I'm like starting to kick the crap out of him. Like I could feel, yeah. Well, maybe that's a
Mm-hmm.
bad analogy. Maybe you edit that out. Maybe that'll make me look bad. But well, you feel like you're getting somewhere with it, and I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. And I do feel that with oils, and I love oil painting. Right, I'm not like I still do oil painting. I'm going to continue to do oil painting, but one of the advantages I like with tempera is this immediate response.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, you're having a ton of success with it. There's that red line here in the groin too. It's really an
Right.
interesting choice. It's really cool.
And the other thing about that you're talking about the stained glass. So I want to talk about that before I forgot about it. Is it's almost like I'm doing glazes.
Okay.
Um, and you can, because it's piecey, you can see these like previous layers and previous decisions
Right.
that start shining through, and you do that with your oil paintings
Mm-hmm.
as well. um, but it really gives such a brilliant effect and brilliant look, that I
Yeah, I
love and
agree.
appreciate. And it also forces you, like if you're thinking about these pieces, as opposed to just like a big like goopy swath, like one goopy swath. There's a lot of good painters who do just one, big goopy swaths, but it forces you to think about form, right? And how things are working,
Hmm.
because it's just difficult to approach it this way without thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Just because you're working on it sort of piecemeal compared to oil. So as you're moving across the leg, you better be thinking about form
Right.
because you're just doing it kind of one little stroke at a time.
Yeah, yeah, and if it's not one stroke, like I mean, I still do some of the things you showed me where I'll use like a fan brush. I actually have a bunch of beat up brushes with little bristles that are just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I actually like them. I like beating them up because it will add some interest to some of that mark
Right. I
making, and
agree.
I can do a bunch of those linear strokes the same way. And then on like the final like accent, I'll do one final layer.
Yeah, you froze there for a sec. On the final accent, you'll do what?
Yeah, I'll do one of those like one stroke at a time
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
type deal. Yeah.
You know, I got to comment on this. I don't know why, because it's not relevant, but this is a nude, and it's like obviously very vulnerable nude, but it's incredible. To me, it's sad when people can't see nudity as separate from pornography, because this is so unbelievably tasteful and beautiful. And I mean, I would even say pure. Like, it's just like the farthest thing from pornography. It's just there's like a tenderness to it. It's just, I don't know.
No,
I was just commenting on that because occasionally in my life I'll meet someone that's like, nudity, no, that's bad. You know, it's like, oh my gosh. Sometimes it can be pornography. I'm not suggesting that you can't paint pornography. You can paint pornography, but this is so unbelievably beautiful and not remotely erotic.
I agree.
It's such a gift to that family. That's awesome.
I definitely
man.
agree in the sense of it. Like, it doesn't give me a porn vibe at all. I mean, this is like, this is her body. This is, you know, and I mean, I heard you say this once, like, you know, we're made in the image of God. I mean, how can this image be pornography in of itself? I mean, this unbelievable machine that encapsulates our spirit, right? I mean,
right.
No way.
Not just by itself. I mean, you can certainly turn it into porn, but that's but the body by itself.
Sure.
You know, babies aren't born pornography because they're undressed, right?
Right.
But yeah, that's gorgeous, man. Well, if somebody has to have it besides me, I'm glad it's her. Is a killer painting. Cool. All right, I'm just going to kind of flip through here a little bit. So this one is, like I'd mentioned before, is one of the first things you did when you came back from New York. And you were really, really doing, this is like the assignment at a next level.
Yeah.
Next level.
That was, you know, we were talking about that fear thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was an incredible amount of tenacity put into that piece.
Yeah. I remember you saying it took like 3 months or something. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, I worked on it. I mean, not straight 3 months. I was doing other stuff, but I worked on it bit by bit here and there for 3 months. Yeah.
Well, I'm not surprised. It is so detailed.
Right. I mean, again, not full time, but but I would sit down and think about it. And my grandpa, my grandmother had just passed away, right? And you know, I really wanted to kind of capture this moment for him. I actually had somebody wanting to buy this piece.
I wanted to buy it at one point.
A month ago. And
oh, really?
I was like, you know, I'd be uninvited to my parents' dinner table. Like,
they don't want you to get rid of it. Yeah.
Well, it's my grandpa. I mean, it is my grandpa. Like, if somebody came by and was like, hey, like, you know, give me like ridiculous money, maybe I'd be a horrible, cold person and be like, all right, maybe, but no, I mean, I plan for this to be in the family forever.
Yeah, that is a great piece. Definitely. And it is really interesting how you went from that and then how you evolved into Egg Tempera, doing the same thing, but with a little bit different look to it.
Yeah. Part of it too is, I just waiting, back to that immediate response thing, like waiting for things to dry. You know, Egg Tempera, it's a slow, methodical process, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you paint how I like to paint, it's faster because of that drying time, right?
Right.
Like, I'm essentially doing
because you can build up layers.
Right. I'm doing that same thing with my grandfather, except I have to wait for things to dry. And with taking out some of that wait time. I mean, you have to be careful with Tempa, right? You don't want to do anything that's unarchival, but it goes by pretty quick, a lot quicker in some
Okay,
regards.
so what is that? What would you do, or what could you do that would make it not archival?
So if I like did well, let me also say this. This is egg tempera grassa, right? Like, so this is tempera paint that has some oil in it, but not more than the ratio of egg yolk. So it works, right? It's dilutable. So it does, if it was just raw egg yolk, I'd have to be a lot thinner and less aggressive. You start getting those stiff medieval like paintings.
Mm-hmm.
But there's some
Is that all of your work that's half oil, half egg? Is it just me, or the rest of you guys also get weirdly excited when you order new paint? Because I don't know about you, but when I get paint in the mail, it feels like Santa just dropped my Christmas presents off at my doorstep. With Vasari paint, my paint of choice and the podcast sponsor, it's even more exciting. And let me show you why. Because when Vasari shows up, it comes in this incredible box where each tube lays in this little compartment perfectly formed around the tube in this nice soft foam. And it's surrounded by velvet, red velvet. Now you got to ask yourself, if a paint comes so carefully protected and surrounded by red velvet, you got to wonder if this paint is worthy of royalty. It is. Vasari is. So if you haven't tried Vasari, you're seriously missing out. And the thing about Vasari, it's not only the best paint out there, it's also made by an incredible company that's been around for 30 years and knows its customer by name. Do yourself a favor, go to VasariColors.com and order yourself some for your next painting. Or just this one piece.
No, well, let me think. No, all of it, because I've done just raw egg yolk, and I was like, this isn't going to work for my personality. I need to have a little bit more ability for aggression, because if you look at some egg tempera paintings that are just egg yolk and water, they're a little bit more stiff than I could handle.
The paint is more stiff?
The paintings, like it requires you to be even thinner, and it just requires you to be even thinner, right? And I don't ever paint, I don't ever make a stroke that's like thicker than like something you'd put on wall paint. So you can't do any Jackson Pollock marks here. It's just not possible. You're going to get cracks, and you don't, if you do, you don't want to have, like, I've had areas where I just had to keep reworking it, and then I'm like, oh, this is building up too much. This is getting too aggressive, and I had to take it down,
sand it or something.
Yeah, because I don't want there to be any risk there. But I've had paintings now for my studio for a few years, and they're good to go. They're good to go. Yeah, and I recently have been varnishing them. I haven't varnished a lot of these, but I recently have been varnishing them with shellac and Renaissance wax.
Oh, no kidding. Man, this is gold, dude. I love this.
Yeah, man, that went by pretty quick. Like, that was like, I don't know. It's probably about 7 hours.
Wow.
On that one.
There's another one.
Which is quick. Quick for me. Like, you had 7 hours is a lot of time for you. Like,
no, not really. That's pretty quick. This one is your sun is so good too. I love the black, the way you designed the canvas. And so I said canvas, but is that what you're painting on, or are you painting on panel?
Panel. Yeah, you don't want to use canvas. Anything that flexes is it's not good for a brittle medium like this.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll use clay board, or I really like the Rublev Tempa ground artifacts makes a sweet honeycomb panel. It's called their temp panel. And that's what that Second Coming painting was on.
Okay.
Wow. It's really light.
And most of these are commissions, right?
They're all commissions.
Yeah.
All of them.
This
well,
one
actually, with the exception to my son, but that's commissioned by my wife, right?
Yeah. Love this one, man. Love it.
Yeah, such a cool kid. Yeah, I was totally thinking about you there with some of that light, that warm light on.
Like I did on Juju. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This one is, this is some of your older work, but this is back when you were doing the pointillist stuff.
Yeah. That's Malin Jackson. I went to, so it was funny, like their family, he was like, his grandfather settled Fremont, Utah. And so I went to the original house that was like the first house in the area, that wasn't Native American, wasn't Indian, but they like threw up, right? They just made this house, and he was telling me all these stories. Like he slept outside during the summer every day, and he's shown me all these cool things on around that area. Or there's Solomon's Temple rock. There was a second settler was a Jewish guy who there's some cool rock formations right around this section in the painting, and he settled by them, and he was showing me like all these arrowheads and like telling me all about the land. And they would do this weird thing where they'd go hunting, but they would go like with just binoculars, like they would go like try to spot an animal, and it's like I got you. It was kind of a fun way to do it, but really cool guy. And that was one of the things I love about commission work. I mean, you probably know, is just getting to know these people, trying to like embed that within the piece you create. He's really, really cool dude.
Yeah, I bet he was really happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
he passed away.
Oh, that's too bad. This is your family, isn't it? Right here?
No. This is this is the Gilreys. Such a cool family, man.
For some reason, I thought one of these was your sister or brother or something.
No, I do. I have painted, my sister and my brother-in-law. I've done that for them. They actually collect a lot of artwork, and I had like a transition period where I was trying to do more portraits, and they commissioned me. It was great, but so this is the Gilreys, and they are unbelievably cool people. They have the craziest Christmas cards every year. Like they go all out, like spend like thousands of dollars to make the funniest Christmas cards you can imagine. Like there was one Christmas card where it was Matt and Julie, but then they got a bunch of their friends to like pretend like they were like polygamists, right? It was like Christmas cards and they're all like dressed up, in like prairie dresses and everything. It was so, I mean, they're good, man. I think they have an Instagram account. I'll have to send it to you.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, it was really cool. I used the mountains that was around their home in Lehigh to try to give some coherence to all the pieces and kind of connect them to varying degrees of success, as you can see. But yeah, it was a fun project. I loved doing it.
One of the things that I've always thought was your strength, even when you were here, it was very obvious, is you've just got a gift for creativity. Painting can be taught, but one of the things about you is you're just very creative. I remember some of the assignments you did here. They were a trip. Like you had, once we got into paint and you started having to set up your still lifes, you often won the award for most creative still lifes. But yeah, it shows in your portraits too. I mean, just the way you design that, it's just too cool. And then like this, isn't this your sibling? Is this your sibling? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
The way you design this, so cool.
Look Look how pretty she is. That's Shari. She's my
That's your
sister. She is the
sister.
salt of the earth. She collects a lot of artwork, man. She collects. I mean, she's got like oh, she has he did the book Alla Prima. Oh my gosh. She's like
Richard Schmidt.
Richard Schmidt. She has a sweet, awesome painting of Richard Schmidt in her
Wow.
room.
Dang.
Yeah, like Joshua Clare, David Dibble, a lot of Utah artists. She collects a lot of their work, and she makes work. She makes great work, man. Like awesome work. Right now, her kids are kind of needing a lot of her time. But dude, when she's back on it, man, everybody's got to look out because she is. I mean, she's got. You think I have a work ethic, man? You should meet my sister.
Really?
She is a tiger mom in every sense of the word, and like very, very motivated to make things happen.
Wow. That's great.
And her husband's the same, right? So yeah,
Power couple.
with this painting, like, yeah, I use these color gels, influenced obviously by you. And I was trying to what I was thinking about was like their auras, right?
Yeah.
Like, like just trying to match like a color with, and they told me they wanted something bright, something fun, something lively. And so I was trying to match like a color to their personality the best I could. It was kind of like what we did. You remember in the studio where like we would play this game and you'd be like, John, tell me this person.
The animal game?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Talk about a talent. You had the best.
Oh, man.
We called you for like a year after that, just asking you to tell us who people's animals were.
Right.
Man,
right.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. Yeah, just to be clear for the audience. So John has a gift for looking at a person and describing what they look like as an animal, And I remember once you said to Courtney, she's a frog. And I'm like, oh God, John, why'd you just say that?
She's 100% a frog, man. It's true. We all know it's true. She's a frog.
Courtney's beautiful. And it's
she
like,
is.
but I get it I get it. But you were just like frog. I'm like, oh God, you should have lied about that one. Cause that does not sound, it does not sound flattering.
Do you remember that one lady who used to be like, when he had Bo, he had that little music studio. He's dating that lady named Stacy.
Yeah.
Remember Stacy?
Yeah. I don't remember her face
like,
very well though.
Well, she was like an aura lady. She's like,
oh yes,
auras.
I do remember that. Yeah.
And I didn't believe the stuff she was talking about. But if I did believe in like people's ability to see auras, she did say I have the ability to see auras. So who knows? Maybe
you do.
Maybe there's something there.
You should have done all of your nieces and nephews as their spirit animal.
Yeah, they're Patronus for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's also really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. So I did that based off the home, right? Like the home, have you there? Well, like I like it, I don't. There's a lot of these homes that are coming out with these affluent families that are like beige colors everywhere.
Oh, okay. So you were trying to fit that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just looking at the palette of the house, and this seemed to be.
I've done the same thing with
option.
portrait commissions. I think that's kind of nice to have a takeoff point sometimes.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, like one of the things I picked up from studying with you was like how to deal with clients. Like I go to their home, like, or if I don't, I ask them to send me photographs of their home and their space so that I can match the piece to the home, and also getting a lot of information about the kids and the people, the parents, whoever is involved. Like I prefer to get to know them for a little bit so I can kind of like tilt it one way or the other.
Yeah, that's good. You're a sponge, man. You pick up a lot of stuff. All right. So let's see if there's anything. Okay. So I've seen these in person and they were incredible and sort of haunting, but in a positive way. Like the lighting on her is so cool. I'm assuming you just did it in ambient light, just like shade or something, right?
Right. Yeah. And then those, the flowers, there's some flowers up the canyon, it was like, in summer, if you go up like around American Fork Canyon, there's all these beautiful sunflowers. and I kept on seeing them everywhere. They're just like everywhere. I had sunflowers on the mind, and you know, I was doing the same thing where I was trying to like match it to the child's personality, like one way or
Yeah.
the other.
Yeah.
And you know, for whatever reason, I felt like this would work for her.
Yeah, dude, you're so creative. I'm telling you. It's really cool. Yeah, this one's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, I'm obviously fudging the perspective on those buffalo back there, but she is like this super strong-headed, stubborn little girl. And I was
Mhm.
like I definitely need to put some buffalo back here. And you know, we're lucky in Utah, man. We have like a herd of buffalo like
On Antelope
20
Island.
minutes away.
Yeah, I know. It's
That is
crazy.
that You'd be amazed by how many references I get from Antelope Island that end up in my paintings. It's like my
Really?
weird little secret spot. Oh yeah.
Well, not
Oh, yeah.
anymore. There's thousands of people know about it now.
I guess it's a weird place, but it's really cool. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
Chase used to hang out there all the time.
I love it.
Yeah. Man, this is awesome, dude. I should have known we'd be able to talk forever. Even though
I
we
know.
literally just talked on the phone. What was it, day before yesterday for like 2 hours?
Right.
Um,
If you look at the painting, the Second Coming painting,
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Antelope Island rocks.
Oh yeah. How about that?
Antelope Island, like fairies.
They're
Fairies Peak or
exaggerated
Fairies
though.
Point.
Like you squished it all
Obviously.
together. Yeah.
Right. I mean, so much
No
of that's
kidding.
just made up, but those rock, like, go to Antelope Island, go to Fairy Point, and you'll see it.
That's sick. Yeah, that painting is just really amazing. I wish I got to see the original. I can't believe I blew it and forgot about your opening.
Oh, no worries, man. It was a good time. Like that was a lot of fun.
Tell me about
Lot
this
of
one.
fun.
This will be the last one we'll look at, but you have a great story behind this one, and it got rejected from the Springville Museum, which
I
really
know, man.
bugged.
I know. Yeah.
Well, not because it got rejected. Like, all right, I should be clear here. We all get rejected, and we shouldn't be bitter about it. It's just the nature of it. But this one, I felt like wasn't fairly judged. Do you mind that I bring
No.
that up?
No, not at all. Yeah, let's talk
Okay.
about it. Like, so, yeah, this painting. So this was like, I painted this, and I had an idea for this painting for like a year. And it was like from 2020 to 2022 is like incredibly hard, difficult time in my life. It was dark, super dark, man. And it wasn't just because of COVID. It was because of like just the pressures to deliver for my family. And my, you know, we got back from New York. I started making money selling some paintings, and then we had our first son, and my wife quit working, and then she started doing like maybe like, you know, part-time here and there assistant work, but it wasn't like a full-time deal. It was like totally manageable, and I was now the breadwinner, right?
Mhm.
And then 2020 came by, and like we couldn't get a house. We had saved up, like I had $50,000 saved up from commission work, and then had another 40 coming in, and I was going to use that $90,000 to try to get into a home, and but home prices like doubled. They went from like 300 to 600,000, and that money just
And
kept
that's
on
just in the
becoming.
burbs. That's not even in the city. That's like,
No, yeah, just in
Yeah.
the city, yeah, the suburbs, right?
yeah.
And like I just was so unbelievably stressed about it, man. I was so stressed about it, and I didn't know how to deal with it other than to just work more, right? Like it was the thing I'm used to doing. I just worked more, and my wife, she had to go back into the workforce, so I felt ashamed, right? Like and it wasn't that we needed even the money, to be frank. Like it was more so like just getting the mortgage, like securing the mortgage. And because I mean, you always, one thing you taught me, and everyone who studies with Jeff and wants a career in art, I'm going to give this advice to you. whether you like it or not. One thing that has been a huge advantage that Jeff taught me and has really helped was not going into debt in like at all, because it's such a high risk profession, like hugely risky. And you have to have flexibility and freedom, and the more debt you have, the less flexibility and freedom you have. And so I mean, we were aiming, we thought even maybe we could save up for a house and like buy like something in the boondocks for 150,000 in cash or something.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this dream is just like, I see it like just dissipating right before my eyes, and I'm just super stressed. And I'm watching my kids, right? Like, and Cassie's going to work, coming home at 5, but I'd start my day and I'd stop painting at 3. And I did it every day, man. Like, I'm not kidding, like every day. And it started jacking me up, like way more than New York, way more than anything. Like, and I think it was chemical. I think it was in my head. Like I was dying. Like if I kept on doing that, I'd probably die. And but what kept on propelling me was just this love for my wife and my kids, and for this dream that we had and we're pursuing, right? And Cassie was 100% supportive, and I didn't want to let her down. And so that feeling was so palpable. And so well, the good news was, we had that 90,000. We had some great investments pan out, and we were able to buy our house, right, that we're in now, right? And Cassie quit her job the day we signed the papers.
Wow.
Day we signed the papers. And this painting, I had to do it. Like I had to paint it. Like you can see it's in my studio still.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone buy it, like probably not, but but it's for me, right? And sometimes I feel that way with these paintings, right? Like sometimes they're my therapist, right? And I can get
Mm-hmm.
get stuff out. But anyways, I threw it out at the Springville Museum, and I'm fine calling her out. Laura, what's her name? It was Laura.
Don't use her last name. It's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
She might be a curator of some museum.
Mm-hmm.
She rejected it, right? And I emailed, and which is fine. Like I've been rejected from shows before, not often, but it's happened. And I was like, this is weird. This is a weird one, right? This is a weird one.
And I can say, you may not say this, but I can say this. I know what the caliber work that goes into these shows, and the fact that this got rejected doesn't make any sense. It's completely irrational because I know the caliber. This isn't the Met.
Right. And it wasn't, and that wasn't like, I mean, I've been in very high caliber shows, and I've won awards in those shows. And that wasn't my purpose in putting this painting in. My purpose in painting this in was just to be seen and just to be understood, and to tell other people this is a human thing that I think a lot of us have felt before, and I wanted to be shared with others. And but yeah, so I emailed one of the judges, and they told me that is one of the reasons that they reject it was because I am a male painter depicting a female breastfeeding, right? What was one of the reasons? And I'm not kidding. Like I have this in writing in my email box.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like so unbelievably crushed that that silliness, something as silly as that, would exclude this work from being shared with others. And it was quite a disappointment. And you know what, to be frank, I think they tried to do that with your Consume painting.
They did.
The same judge that we're talking about, that we won't mention her last name. Her mom was at my unveiling, by the way. She introduced me to her, and I was, her mother's lovely. Your painting, Consume, one of the best paintings I think you've done. I mean, there's a lot of them that are great, but it's one of my favorites. It really is. It's phenomenal. And I mean, like, weren't they going to reject it? It was Micah who.
Yeah, but it wasn't political. like yours was. It was just,
Right.
yeah, what happened was Micah Christensen, who followers of the podcast know Micah, he's a regular. He was a judge, and then there was another judge, and the other judge was a modernist. They had modernist sensibilities, and she absolutely hated my work. And it was a matter of taste. I don't think there was an ideological reason behind it, like there was for you. So, you know, that's just the luck of the draw. But then Micah, he said that he gave up all of his other votes in order to make mine first place. And he said, look, if you let me make Jeff's first place, then you can have second place, third place, and all the other votes. And she finally reluctantly agreed to let, but if she had her way, she wouldn't even have put mine in the show.
Right.
So, yeah, you know, but mine is just, if I got rejected, I would have been shocked. No, now I look off arrogant, but I mean, I would have been shocked just because it was a pretty ambitious painting, you know? I'll show it real quick since we're on the topic. Let's see.
Yeah, Micah said when I told him,
yeah, this
who was
painting.
the judge.
So this was painted in 2008 to represent the consumerism and the poison of consumerism that created the 2008, in my opinion, the 2008 recession, which was scary because it was a similar thing that you went through. That's what.
Right.
So we had, I guess, a different way of looking at it. All my investments, just my savings that I worked so hard saving money as an artist and having a cushion so that I don't have to live in constant fear. All of a sudden it's worth half just because 1 million Americans needed to buy a home they couldn't afford because the banks convinced them that they could have a better home, even though if they had just thought for themselves that they might have realized, well, maybe I can't afford that loan. The banks were the ones that ended up getting blamed for it. But I remember when I went to get a loan for my house, I knew what I could afford.
Right.
And I took what I could absolutely afford, and I wanted to pay less than that for a house.
Right.
And when I went to the bank, I said, look, this is what I want a loan for. They looked at my finance. They said, well, we can give you double that. I'm like, no. This is prior to 2008 when the big house lending boom or whatever you want to call it. I was like, no, I don't want to go into debt. I don't want to be house broke. I don't need 6,000 square feet. I just want 1,800 square foot house. It's something that I'm not going to be house broke. So I took out a responsible loan. And then just a few years later, because of the rest of the country's irresponsible loans, the banks ended up getting the blame, but I blame the consumer. And I painted this as a way to vent the poisons of consumerism. That said, I sound really judgmental now. I'm a consumer. We all do stupid things and spend money in stupid ways. But anyway, she rejected it mostly on that it wasn't abstract enough. It wasn't
It's
modern
so abstract.
enough.
It's like one of the most abstract paintings ever. Like, that's so crazy.
Well, it's representational though, you know, and she was not into that. Yeah. But that's it's the luck of the draw, man. But I got first place anyway, so it worked out. Micah fought for me.
Yeah, Micah saw that painting that we were just looking at, and he was blown away too. And then I told him who the judge was, and he's like, "Oh, of course." I mean, this is a lot more dark. I mean, this is but
you got rejected for ideological reasons. That's different. This is an art show, which shouldn't come into it.
Right.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do, man? Like, you're gonna have to deal with that as an artist. And luckily, I make a living with my work, and my patrons are supporting me. What irritates me now, especially in this day and age, is like I feel like there's these art critics or art curators, and not the ones that like are stewards of the work and making sure it finds good homes, but the ones who are just critics, right? And I feel like today in 2024, like the artist is going to become more and more of the critic. the artist is going to become more and more of the judge. The artist is going to become more and more of the gallery owner. The artist is going to uh, be better at controlling the conversation in what is good and what is not, because the artist is making it, and we have platforms to speak now. And I don't care if you get your PhD learning about some bull crap. Like, if you can't see good artwork, if it hits you in the face, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily good artwork, but based on the track record and the things you seem to like, and if you have to write a long paper on why it's good, like, dude, you're history. Like, it's not going
Yeah.
to be long till that stuff, that's going to be obsolete. More and more of the artists are going to be curating shows. More and more of the artists are going to be selling their work directly. More and more of the artists are going to be having competitions, and having discussions like we're having right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I was talking to Rose Franson about this the other day, and she was talking about how I never even thought of it this way. She's like, Jeff, do you realize you've asserted yourself as a curator of art? I'm like, oh, I guess I have. But I mean, I have a small audience, but I think that we're in a great time though, because we don't have to, like you said, we don't have to wait for the world to say, okay, you're
Right.
you're a member of the elite class. You get to decide. We don't have to wait for that to happen. We can just assert ourselves and say, hey, this is what I think. And if people want to listen to what we think, they will. If they don't, they won't, And then it's nice.
Right.
It's the perfect art democracy where the viewers get to decide if the person making the judgment call is making good judgments, if their voice is worthy of listening to. So it's kind of cool.
Right.
I'd never thought of it that way.
It's awesome. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I agree with Rose 100%. Pretty soon you start with small things, and then next thing, who's that one guy? New Salem Museum. What was
Oh,
it?
Michael Klein. Yeah, he's another one
sorry,
that's
Michael
asserted
Klein.
himself. Yeah.
I feel embarrassed. He's so good. He's curating shows. He's
Yeah.
curating shows, right? Like, I think we have an opportunity to make these shows. We have the opportunity to make these competitions and say what's good and what's not. And you know what? It should be that way, because I think artists, people who look at things very closely should be dictating these kind of decisions,
Yeah.
as opposed to being influenced by something that has an alternative agenda other than just beautiful work or meaningful work or an emotional impact to the viewer.
I totally agree. Just another example, which preceded podcasts and various other media, is our organizations like the Portrait Society of America, where artists judge
Right.
artists, right? These
Right.
these shows are judged by other artists, by our peers.
Right? Art Renewal
Which-
Center, they bring on
Art
tons
Renewal
of
Center.
judges,
Yep.
right? That are direct artists. I mean, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's the way to go. Definitely the way to
Yeah.
go. So, dude, that's been fun, man. Can you believe we've been talking 2 hours?
No way.
I
I
swear.
thought it was like an hour. No way.
It's been 2 hours, dude. 2 hours. So that's kind of nuts. So now we're up to 4 this week. So we might want to tone it down for a little while.
Well, thanks for always chatting with me sometimes.
Heck no,
I
man.
was
I'm
like,
just kidding. Quality time.
yeah. So I mean,
It's
yeah.
the nice thing about earbuds. You get a lot of work done and you kept entertained by good conversation.
Yeah, well, I
all
love.
good.
I mean, I'm so grateful, that even today, even though I'm not in your studio, you'll still answer questions for me here and there, and continue to help me grow my career by answering these questions. You've done such a good job, and built such a career that is awesome, and I hope to do the same. 15 years down the road, that I'm proud of it, like I am of yours right now.
Oh, you're already doing it. And here's the thing. It's so interesting that now I'm not just saying this. Now I'm learning from you. You're teaching me stuff on the podcast, and it's kind of crazy. Like we were talking on the phone the other day, and you were talking about your lay-in, and how that's one of the things that has evolved from the way you did it when you were with me. And I was just really fascinated by it. And it's just cool to see you finding your own way. Like, obviously I see some of my lessons in your work, but I also see some of Grand Central. I see a lot of yourself. I see, like, it's just, and now it's cool because now you're a peer, you know, like I'm learning from you too. So it's not just one-sided. It's been great.
Well,
to see you grow,
yeah,
man.
man. Yeah, likewise.
So you know the last question. So I'll ask it anyway. Keep it official. What I feel like you're thinking about it already.
I think I'm at first I was like, wait, what was the last question? And then I was like,
if you have one piece of advice that you wish you had, or that a great teacher that you studied with for 4 years gave you that you'll always appreciate. I'm just kidding. Scratch that part. If you have one piece of advice that you wish you had, or that you did have, that you think is a really important piece of advice, what would that be?
I think two things. Can I give like two?
You can give as many as you want.
Two.
Yeah.
The first one's just work like your life depends on it, because
I knew you were going to say 100%,
that. Right? That's like my go-to every time. Right?
Well, I didn't know you were going to say that because it's predictable. I knew you were going to say that because you are speaking from experience. If you didn't say it, I would have said it for you.
I mean, this is your life, and you aren't here very long, and you know, especially if you're in a stage of life where you have time, like maybe your kids are grown, like hit the ground running, or maybe you're like young and wanting to start a career. Like your time now is, I mean, when you become my age, when you get in your 30s, like the time you have, it becomes so less. Like there's just not enough once you hit your 30s and you get a few kids. There's not enough time. There's not enough money. There's not enough loving, if you know what I mean. Like, I mean, there is just not enough, dude. Like, it's like, gosh, like, there's no time. There's kids in my bed all the time, you know. Like, there's just not. It's like not enough.
Where you're going with that? Yeah.
You know, and so I mean, so it's a stress, but it's not forever, and it's awesome. And I'm gonna once they grow, it's done. Like their little kid time is over. And the second thing is like you are incredibly inspiring, right? Like be inspired by other artists, but realize that, you know, Jeff HEIN, myself, Grand Central, Florence, New York Academy of Art, wherever, they, you know, you have to be like, have the mindset of you got to make it happen. Mm-hmm. Right? As much as like, you know, as much as you might become friends with your instructors, like I am with you, there's, I mean, I can't remember when it was, but there's this like sinking in where it's like if I don't do this, it won't happen. No matter how many great artists I know, no matter how good of an instructor you have, if you don't do it, it won't happen. Mm-hmm. And whatever that looks like, to making it happen, it's going to be different for your situation. You know, you kind of can put together a little bouquet of flowers of what opportunities are around you, but you got to go, or else the tides go away and you can't get your boat out.
Perfect. Great advice, man. Thanks, John. This has been fun, dude.
You're the very best. I was
genuinely wondering if we'd be able to talk. I'm like, I know everything there is about him, but yeah, that was a piece of cake.
You know, we gotta do some prank calls now once you stop recording.
I'm still so sick about that. I mean, I still fantasize about one day cleaning out a closet and finding that tape.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Anyway, someday.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Hey man,
Thanks again.
I love it.
Good seeing you, dude.
Thanks for tuning in to the Undraped Artist Podcast. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. And if you could, leave a comment or review. That really helps the channel. Please share the show with your friends, and if you're feeling generous, consider a monthly donation at theundrapedartist.com. Thanks again for watching, We'll see you next week.